Changsha Tzu Chi volunteers form a team to visit flood-affected areas for upcoming reliefs. Miaoli Zhuolan Recycling Station volunteers overcome challenges to do recycling for 13 years. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Maggie Tsai. Thank you for joining us. There are over 20 regions in China that have experienced major flooding since summer began, including Cili Township, which is in Hunan's northwest area. Changsha Tzu Chi volunteers form a disaster survey team to head to a few devastated areas to offer the local government some assistance.
Leaving Changsha and heading northwest, Tzu Chi volunteers are heading to Cili County, where it will take them about 4 hours to get there, so they left at 6 in the morning. Qinghai Township is a tourist hotspot, known for its scenic mountain views. However, the torrential rain since mid-June has changed its landscape.
There was a bridge here, but the flood washed it away. Now cars can't come through, so we've been walking the entire time.
Led by the village head, Tzu Chi volunteers visited a few villages by foot and discovered that many of the families were afraid of living at home.
This was the biggest flooding in history. All our infrastructure was destroyed in this flood. It's very damaging. Recovery costs may be around 100,000 to 200,000.
Currently, survivors from the affected villages have been evacuated to safety by the government, such as the 57 villagers from Huaxi Township. They relocated to a retired cement factory. The volunteer schedule was packed as they visited 4 major disaster zones and lastly reached Xin'an Elementary. As the school is next to a mountain, the flooding in July nearly caused a deadly accident.
I've never seen flooding as much as that before. The water ran faster than people could and broke the wall. It took the children with it. Thankfully, the water just took the 6 children to the paddy field over there.
The campus wall facing the street was also damaged. As volunteers make a record of each devastation, they comfort the villagers that they will return later with assistance.
Yushu City in Qinghai Province, China has an average elevation of more than 400 to 200 meters and lacks medical resources. Volunteers from Huaxi cooperated with the Rewa Charity Association to screen 3,000 students for congenital heart disease in the livestock areas in 11 days.
There are rivers, towering mountains, diverse landforms, and complex topography.
Xiaosuban Township itself is a very remote town. It can be said to be with the worst economic conditions in the territory of Yushu Prefecture. There are still 2 to 3 villages without accessible roads.
The heart is very important, isn't it? We have to take care of it. Today we come here to check whether it is in good or bad condition. If it's not good, we can cure it by taking medication or undergo surgery, as the present medical technology is very advanced. Don't worry.
Qinghai volunteers from Huaxi cooperated with Qinghai Rewa Charity Association to screen students from livestock areas for congenital heart disease.
Like us coming for screening, we bring with us a cardiac ultrasound machine and stethoscopes to check students' hearts. The misdiagnosis rate would be very low.
This place in Yushu, the altitude is relatively high. Like yesterday, we screened more than 500 students. 23 of them were found to have congenital heart disease. In contrast, we have screened nearly 4,000 to 5,000 people in Ledu before, which is in a lower altitude, and only 3 patients were found to have congenital heart disease. So it shows that at high altitude, where there is less oxygen, the incidence of congenital heart disease is very high.
More than 3,000 elementary to high school students are screened in each trip of at least 10 days, bringing hope of medical treatment to the children in countryside.
I'm afraid of missing any child. In other words, once we find a child who needs our help, we will definitely offer our help without giving up on anybody. In Suzhou, Tzu Chi volunteers conducted home visits for scholarship recipients who are from Qinghai Primary School. They walked into the children's homes, learned about their financial situation, and gave loving gifts, including pencils, puzzles, and encouragement.
The vegetable shed by the field is their home. Born in a poor family, the children are still happy as they come. The children's father was away from home. The siblings are taken care of by their grandmother. Their life is hard and sad.
The two children have the same father but different mothers. His mother left, her mother also left. I feel sad just thinking about their situation.
Tzu Chi volunteers from Suzhou visit the scholarship recipients' families. Giving care and encouragement is their way of supporting these children's mental health.
When we encounter difficulties, don't be afraid. After we get through the difficulty, we will be stronger than before. Next time we come across it, we won't be afraid of it.
Volunteers visit home after home, delivering love and stationery to make children's learning worry-free.
I have always felt that home visits can teach me a lot because we go into people's homes, see their lives, and then experience their hardships and sufferings. You will gain a lot of enlightenment.
Through the home visit, volunteers experience that giving is a blessing and are inspired to do more good deeds in the future.
In March 2019, Dalian Tzu Chi volunteers went to Huaxi City to care for the local impoverished farmers affected by the epidemic. This year, monthly care was suspended. In July, 42 volunteers set off again. This time, they received an unexpected reward.
Dalian Tzu Chi volunteers took a bus to Huaxi City, which is 100 kilometers away.
After all, it's been a long time since the last time we visited them. We should miss them very much, and there may be some new faces in each family, so we try to have more interaction with them.
Affected by the epidemic, volunteers came again to visit after half a year. The feeling of a long-awaited reunion was beyond words. Volunteers were divided into 8 groups to care for the villagers while advocating environmental protection. Their heartfelt care made this senior move to tears.
Next time, I will definitely bring you a clip. So while you hold on a crutch, you don't need to bend over, but just clip it.
She tries every way to help me and doesn't want me to bend over. I am really grateful from my heart.
You need to live well, Uncle, okay?
The little surprise prepared by this household made everyone feel the visit was unforgettable. Because no one cares how much the loving donation is.
In fact, care recipients treat us like his family. We devoted ourselves to care for him. This reward we received is really touching.
Every household has their own story, as 17 families all rely on farming for a living.
The village officials say that we have to rely on Tzu Chi and his great love. The spirit allows us to stand with suffering people on this land and enter their lives so that their lives can be adjusted and improved.
We get to know Tzu Chi and help them solve their problems, making their lives better and better. Their temperament and thinking or other aspects are much brighter than before.
What to do when you are hopeless? You need to accept all this willingly and joyfully.
Volunteers helped impoverished farmers relieve their worries and also helped this family take this unusual photo. In fact, happiness is just a matter of mind.
大叔，你幸福吗？
幸福。
Next, we visit Miaoli Zhuolan Recycling Station, where they have no running water or electricity. Yet in the 13 years since its establishment, recycling volunteers continue to overcome difficulties each day to protect the planet. Let's take a look.
At this outdoor recycling station, there is no shade to take cover. Aren't the volunteers afraid of sun exposure?
哎呦，黑呀，那怎么办？你看变黑人了。我们两个的颜色，你已经不怕晒，对不对？
对对。
I've been doing recycling since before the 9/21 earthquake.
No shade to sit under while doing recycling is already tough. The station is also without running water or electricity.
来了，水来了。
When this region doesn't get any rain, sometimes the water tower is empty. We must hire a water truck to come fill up the reserve. This one will probably need 2 refills.
Water is easily solved with a water truck, but what about electricity?
这个是它的总电源。
对，你要跟隔壁借电给我们用，是不是？
对。
是不要的，那个聋人不要的，我们给他捡起来用。
We don't use the table. It's only for special occasions like this one.
The special occasions table is used as a workstation for DaAi TV reporters. It's hard to imagine the volunteers working in this environment for 13 years just to keep the planet clean.
It is our responsibility. We must do what we must do.
We have a heart of joy to give back to the earth.
In the 30 years of recycling, volunteers like them have never wavered from their responsibility. A hug of thanks shows our appreciation and more.
感恩，感恩师姐，感恩你们。
Cili volunteers Taekwondo Wrestling celebrated her 102th birthday. A few people gathered to celebrate with her. Taekwondo only joined Cili when she was in her 70s, but she has been very dedicated. Master Jian has often praised Tai, saying that she's a role model for others to follow.
This is a surprise for Sister Taekwondo.
She's 102 and in such good health, mentally and physically. She's a blessed person. The master has said it's okay if you don't do volunteer work anymore, just show up for people to see you.
This senior still has plenty of energy and makes a birthday wish.
Thank you, Master Zhen Yan, and may you be blessed with health, longevity, and wisdom. I forgot to say that earlier.
Taekwondo only joined Cili in her 70s, but she does not slack off. She participates in the morning Dharma lessons each day. She's a real role model for others to follow.
We wanted to surprise her because she is one of us. We need to take care of her.
The humanitarian seminar at the Yuanling Liaison Office has secretly planned the celebration for Taekwondo, hoping to bring her some joy while wishing her the best in Cili.
Riverside University Health System is located in California's Riverside County. It's one of the main hospitals taking care of confirmed COVID-19 patients. After a donation of PPE items by U.S. Cili headquarters, the volunteers were able to promote the vegetarian campaign of A Better Meal for a Better Earth to the hospital.
Come so far to donate the food and to help us out, and the idea of pledging, the vegetarian meal is awesome.
Cili donates a large quantity of PPE supplies to Riverside University Health System in Moreno Valley, California. This donation has surprised and touched the RUHS Foundation. Cili was having problems spreading their vegetarian campaign to RUHS. But now, with the support of Nicole Peterson, or the foundation's interim executive director, the volunteers were able to deliver 300 vegetarian lunch boxes to the healthcare workers.
Very much looking forward to having a very healthy vegetarian meal for our staff as they're working with our COVID-19 patients, keeping them as healthy as possible and keeping them fed. not only keeps them healthy, but lets them know that the community is thinking about them. So we very much appreciate your mission of a better meal for a better earth.
You guys are so kind to have donated all those meals. It's touched my heart, and I know it's going to touch the nursing staff as well. So I so appreciate all that you do.
I'm glad, and my family's glad to take a pledge to do the 1 day, 1 meal a week vegetarian.
I hope this pandemic can end soon and live our lives so we may return to our lives as normal.
We have told them that we are promoting vegetarianism because we want more people to join the habit, even if they just pledge 1 or 2 meals a day. It's all for our own health, as well as doing our part for planet Earth.
From getting 1 million pledges to infinite vegetarian pledges as a goal, it is hoped delicious meals can help change people's perception of vegetarianism.
U.S. city volunteers in Nevada donated COVID-19 prevention supplies and vegetarian lunch boxes to local dentists. They invited the dentists to think and reflect upon how vegetarian may improve the current situation at hand. Otherwise, these delicious lunch boxes were provided by a kind restaurant owner for free.
Even before Chef Kenny's Asian vegan restaurant opened, the process of preparing nutritious vegetarian lunchboxes had already started.
Our meal includes vegan sweet and sour chicken, brown or white rice, dumplings, and broccoli.
Supporting Tzu Chi's campaign of a better meal for a better earth, the restaurant owner promised to provide free vegetarian meals 1 day a week with the full support of his employees.
I think in promoting vegetarianism to others, we need to help those who need assistance. This is why when we take from society, we should give back to society.
Bringing freshly prepared vegetarian meals, along with COVID prevention supplies to the dental building, Tzu Chi volunteers are here to motivate the dentists to take a vegetarian journey.
Under today's pandemic situation, we all ask, what's the solution? How can we get better? So we're thinking maybe vegetarian.
Because of the pandemic, I think we learned a lot about ourselves, about our community, our society, our country, and also the fact that we are be vegetarian, so no wild animals are going to be consumed.
From self-reflection to action, this dentist vowed to become vegetarian immediately.
It's better to eat vegetables because, meat and some poultry or fish, it affects the joints of the body. If we consume more protein, it affects your metabolism.
1 vegetarian lunchbox, 1 advice given. Tzu Chi volunteers' care brings change.
The coronavirus epidemic has severely impacted industries such as aviation, tourism, film, and entertainment industries. With many people unemployed or taking unpaid leaves, the physical and mental stress has led to high levels of depression. A research survey found that unemployment and low income will increase feelings of loneliness in the hearts of the people. While proportion of people in their 20s to 50s, this feeling of loneliness is highly correlated with emotional stress and depression, with mental health being an important issue requiring more attention.
This coronavirus epidemic had a great impact on our income. We can't pay children's tuition fees and mortgages.
Taichung's ED bus had a total of 63 tour buses all parked in the lot when the epidemic was at its worst in April this year. For 8 days, not a bus was dispatched and most drivers had nothing to do.
This is a driver's lounge where they were usually watching TV. This is where they come when they have nothing to do. Sometimes I come here to chat.
The impact of SARS wasn't as bad as it is now. Currently, there's no work and no customers.
The SARS epidemic 17 years ago was limited to East Asia, mainly Taiwan, China, Hong Kong, Macau, and South Korea. At that time, the number of foreign tourists did not decrease significantly, which is very different from this COVID-19 epidemic.
Zhang
Zhiben is the owner of the tour bus company and currently has 70 employees left. As a result of difficult economic times, he is losing more than $30,000 a month in labor expenses.
Of course, sometimes I can't sleep, and I just want to see a psychologist. but they also cost money, so I'm reluctant to go. But everyone is in the same boat, so it is no use complaining.
The epidemic's greatest impact will be on our disadvantaged group and those people living on the fringe of the economy. Their difficulties in life is a form of psychological stress.
The epidemic has severely impacted industries in Taiwan such as tourism, aviation, and movie theaters.
We're only doing about 10% of our former business. I lost $30,000 a month.
Mr. Huang, who owns the cinema, is using his time to still collect old and obsolete film projectors, taking advantage of the lack of business to relive his dreams.
I'm personally interested in the movie theater industry. If not, then I won't continue to operate this business.
Even if you do business at a loss and you still keep going, there are other factors which drive an individual. In addition to material desires, humans have a higher level of ideal practice. The 5 major human needs, according to American psychologist Maslow, are basically the desire to eat, drink, and dress warmly, followed by the need to stay away from danger and be safe. Then the social needs, including interpersonal relationships and work. At the top is self-actualization and meeting one's full potential.
The most basic psychological needs is gone when unemployment occurs. Once this occurs, it's a big problem, and people feel a lot of insecurity. Being unemployed means one has lost its social connection. He has lost self-aspiration. There is also social stigma and related issues, so the person's mind and body will be greatly affected.
When the desires of one's inner heart fall one by one, the feeling of loneliness will sweep over a person. This survey found that different age groups in Taiwan feel varying degrees of loneliness. Among the 21 to 30-year-olds, 65% feel lonely. Among the 31 to 40-year-olds, half feel lonely. And among the 41 to 50-year-olds, 41% feel loneliness. What is worrying is unemployment and low income, as these 2 factors can be major factors of loneliness. 71.5% of the unemployed face loneliness. In addition, half of the groups with annual income less than $15,000 coexist with loneliness.
British research finds that when a person is lonely, they are more likely to develop cardiovascular disease, which may lead to early death.
Therefore, the National Taiwan University medical team developed a method to quickly diagnose a person's mood.
We have designed a sort of mood thermometer. The most important thing is to download the mood thermometer app. Then you can know immediately your condition and the severity of the 5 problems that trouble you.
Research shows that 5.3% of the people over 20 years old in Taiwan, 1.02 million people, have reached the level of emotional distress and need psychological counseling or professional help.
Through education, we want to make people care about their emotional state. Is there any emotional distress to the point of seeking medical attention?
The coronavirus epidemic has been a major test for everyone, especially those who are facing employment problems related to certain industries. When we have a better understanding of mental illness, we'll have more power to confront the problem and seek an adequate remedy.
Changsha Tzu Chi volunteers have been providing vegetarian meal to frontline medical staffs at a local hospital during the epidemic to give thanks to their efforts. Take a look and see you next time.